Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a book tag. This is quite exciting for me. This is the first time I've actually been tagged to do a book tag and I'm not just doing it for the fun of it. So this is the TBR Book Tag and I was tagged by Justin at Triumphal Reads. I'll link his video down below so you can see that. And I think the tag was originally created by a book blogger, so I will put the link to that down below as well. So without further ado, let's start with the questions. Question 1 is, how do you keep track of your TBR? So I have two main ways of doing that. I use Goodreads, where I have the want to read or to read bookshelf depending on which format you're using it in, which is all books that I own and haven't read yet. I have a separate shelf for books that I want to read but I don't own, and one for books that I've borrowed. And so I use those three shelves to keep track of the books that I haven't read that I want to read, both the ones that I own and the ones that I want to try and find. I call it books to find because it's books that I'm going to try and locate some way or other. As well as that, I use my bookshelves I have them organised so I can see which ones I have and haven't read. So I have a small bookshelf by my bed. I'm going to put a photo of it in here, which is books that I am aiming to get to soon. So the top shelf of that is books that I've borrowed. They're mainly ones that I've borrowed from friends and family. If I can fit them on there, my library books go on there as well. They're not on there at the moment because I've got them all down here to make a video about books I have out from the library at the moment. The middle shelf is ones that I've bought, usually quite recently, although some of them I've had for maybe a year or so, but they're ones that I'm aiming to get to in the near future. And then the bottom shelf is my death row books. The ones stacked on top are ones that I have bought but haven't found somewhere for them to live yet. And now I'm going to insert a clip that I just filmed of my other bookshelves, my main bookshelves, in my spare room, which is where most of my books are stored. So I'm going to attempt to show you my bookshelves without giving too much away of the mess that the rest of the room is in. The bookshelves themselves are not too tidy. They do need a good sort out again, but you can see, so on this hand side, up to where the cats are, those are all books that I've read. So we've got novels first, and then we've got a small section of non-fiction, poetry, plays and some books in French, and then the to be read side starts with those same categories: non-fiction, poetry, plays and French, and then we get into the novels there. So they go down and then up on that side as well. They're all organised alphabetically. And then over here I've got one other bookshelf. So this is all Christian, non-fiction and theology. And again, I've got the ones I've read at the top. And then from here, these are ones that I haven't read yet. So there's a couple of shelves of those. I also have a few boxes in the corner of the room over there, which are also ones that I haven't read yet. There's one box which is ones that I have read that I'm not going to read again soon, so I've put them in a box out of the way. And then I've got quite a few boxes of ones that don't fit on the shelf that are also mainly ones that I haven't read. Most of them are listed on my Goodreads, but not all of them. I have just got a new bookshelf. It's new to me, but it's secondhand and it needs a little bit of TLC before I can put books on it. And so once I've got that one set up, I'll have a bit of reorganisation. Hopefully I'll get more of the books out on the shelves, but this is why I really shouldn't be buying books, because there's so many that I own that I haven't read yet. I use my bookshelves to help me work out which books I haven't read. As you can see from those photos and that little clip, I have a bit of a problem and I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to solve it yet, because the main solution is to not buy any more books and just read the ones I've already got, but yeah, that doesn't seem to have worked. So question 2, is your TBR mainly print or ebooks? As you can see from question 1, my TBR is mainly print. I have never really gotten into ebooks. It's not a format that I enjoy reading in. I just can't get used to reading on the screen, I think because I had to do that for uni. All of our set texts were sent to us as PDFs, so I associate reading on the screen with working and I don't find it relaxing. I'd much rather have a book that I can hold in my hands. So yes, I do have some ebooks. I have the Kindle app and the iBooks app, and I have some books on there, mainly ones that I got for free, but I don't know when I'll ever get around to reading them. I don't think I've read any books at all this year. I think I read maybe one last year. Question 3. How do you determine which book from your TBR to read next? So I'm a mood reader, so it's generally what I feel like reading. Depending on where we are in the month, I sometimes have to prioritise reading my book club book because I often leave those till quite the last minute. It's also determined by things like if I've got a lot of library books that are due back soon, I'll try and get to them quicker, which is a reason why I need to stop using the library, because it means I end up prioritising those over books I already own, which is fine. I love the library and it's saved me a lot of money because I read books from the library first and then decide if I like them enough to buy them. I also try and vary up my reading by trying to read at least one book a month for my Read Around the World challenge, getting a bit better at doing that. And yeah, occasionally I'll make TBRs if I'm doing a readathon, but if you watched my Tome Infinity and Beyond reading vlog, I don't even stick to them when I do make them. So it's just what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes that'll be I've read some serious books and I need to read something light, or sometimes it'll be I want to read something quick and easy to get through, or I'm in the mood for something really meaty. So yeah, just what I'm in the mood for. Question 4. Name a book that has been on your TBR for the longest. So I actually thought of this book straight away. I've got a lot of books that I've had for a really long time and haven't got around to reading, but the one that came to mind first was this one, which is called The Embers of Heaven by Alma Alexander. So I vaguely remember buying this. I got this from The Works, which is a discount bookstore in the UK. Well, they don't just sell books, but they sell a lot of books, and they often have them in deals for like £3 for £5 and that sort of thing. And I picked this one up because I thought the cover was beautiful and the concept sounded really interesting. And I'd already had it for a couple of years when I decided to take it on holiday with me. I opened it up to start reading it and discovered that it was a sequel. And that was, when was that? That was probably coming up for 10 years ago. And so when I got back from my holiday, I then ordered the first book, which is called The Secrets of Jin Shay, which I've read. I read that quite quickly with the intention of reading this one soon afterwards, and then I never got around to reading this one. I loved The Secrets of Jin Shay, and so I don't know why it's taken me so long to get around to this one, so much so that I only have vague memories of The Secrets of Jin Shay, so I'm going to have to reread that one and then read this one, and I'm going to try and get to it soon because I've had it for a really long time. Yeah, it's set in a sort of fantasy version of China, and it's about a secret society that connects women, and there's sort of magic and alchemy and all sorts of stuff like that going on. But I really enjoyed the first book, so yeah, I need to reread that and then read this one. It's just silly now, I've had it for so long. Question 5. Name a book recently added to your TBR. Well, I had 2 books arrive yesterday, which are both sequels to books that I read in September. So they are, oops, nearly dropped it, Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So if you saw my September wrap up, you saw how much I loved Strange to Dreamer, and I pre-ordered this straight away, and I got it in time to get the nice copy with the sprayed edges. I don't generally go in for hardbacks, I usually wait for paperbacks, but I was just so keen to find out what happened next in the story, and this, I mean, I'm glad I paid extra for the beautiful, shiny, brand new first edition copy. It's so pretty. So I've got that one, which I'm going to get to soon, hopefully. And then I also have Gemina, which is the second book in the Illuminae files, and I read Illuminae for Tome Infinity and Beyond, and I loved it, so I went out and ordered this one as soon as I could, and so I'm really looking forward to reading that one as well. Question 6. Name a book on your TBR because of its beautiful cover. So I picked 2 options for this one again. These are both books that I bought on the same day. You'll have seen them in my summer book haul, and they were total cover buys. So this one is The Heart of Mid-Lothian by Walter Scott. This one cost me 50p in a charity shop, and it's a super old, gorgeous, lovely book. I love these old hardbacks. That's one exception to my paperback over hardback rule, is if it's old and it's leather bound, I just love it. So there's that one, and the other one is The Longest Journey by Ian Forster. This was definitely a cover buy because that's just really gorgeous, beautiful edition. I don't really know very much about either of those books. I just thought they were beautiful, and they were in charity shops, so they were cheap. Question 7. A book on your TBR that you never plan on reading. So I'm going to refer you to my book death row video. I'll put a link for it down below. These are books that I have on my bookshelf that I can't decide if I want to read them or not. Generally, if I'm pretty sure I'm not going to read a book, I won't keep it, but I do have some reference books. I'm going to mention one of them now. Oh, this is actually quite heavy. So I have this book called Defining Moments in Music. It's a bit of a coffee table book. It was bought for me by my housemates when I was an undergraduate studying music in Cardiff, and it's sort of got key figures and key events in the history of music, starting from sort of the birth of popular music around 1900. It's when it dates from, things like the invention of the gramophone, and then it's got key figures and songs and performances. And yeah, so it's just sort of one that you can dip in and out of. I don't know whether I'll ever sit down and read it cover to cover. I might do at some point, or just read like a page a day or something. But yeah, it's not the sort of book that you just sit and read, really. So that's that one. Question 8. An unpublished book on your TBR that you are excited for. So I heard a couple of weeks ago that the author of one of my favourite books of last year has a new book coming out next year. So I went and pre-ordered it straight away. So the author is Lauren James, who wrote The Loneliest Girl in the Universe, and she has a new book coming out next year called The Quiet at the End of the World. I don't really know too much about it. I just know that I loved The Loneliest Girl in the Universe enough that I want to read her other books. And I know she has 2 more that are out already that are on my books to find list. So yeah, I'm really keen to read more of her books. Question 9. A book on your TBR that basically everyone has read except you. And this one is one that I'm really pleased to finally have a copy of, because I've been wanting to read the series for a while, and someone very kindly sent me this, and that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. This is a sort of sci-fi retelling of Cinderella, and I've heard great things about the series, and so many people have read them and enjoyed them, so I really am looking forward to getting stuck into this one, and hopefully I'll enjoy it and then I'll get the rest of the series. And question 10, a book on your TBR that everyone recommends to you. This is a similar thing. It's one that I've heard talked about quite a lot on sort of the fantasy side of BookTube, but I also have had several friends that have read it and said, oh, why haven't you read that? You'll really enjoy it. In fact, one friend has actually lent me the first trilogy in the series, and it is Robin Hobb. So the first one is Assassin's Apprentice. This is the Farseer trilogy, which is the first in her sort of longer series. There, all the trilogies and different series are linked. I think it's called The Realm of the Elderlings, and there are various trilogies and series that are sort of linked together. I'm not explaining this very well. Anyway, so I love fantasy, and I've heard really great things about Robin Hobb as an author, and a number of people have specifically recommended this series to me, so I've been meaning to get on with this. This is actually my own copy now. I managed to get in a library sale, and I still have the other 2 books of the trilogy that I'm borrowing from my friend, so I need to get onto them soon so she can have her books back. Saying that, she has, I think, at least a dozen books she's borrowed from me, so... And question 11, a book on your TBR that you are dying to read. So this is another one that's recently been added to my TBR. A couple of weeks ago, my parents went on holiday to Cornwall, and I'm very jealous of the fact that they went to visit Jamaica Inn, which is a real place, a real inn, which inspired the book by Daphne du Maurier. She's my all-time favourite novelist, and surprisingly, I'm not going to say one of her books, having had this build-up, because while my parents were there, they had a little museum and a little gift shop, and they were looking around, and they discovered, who knew, Daphne du Maurier had a sister who was also a novelist. And so my dad bought me one of her books. She was called Angela du Maurier, and this book is called Trevaryan. I'm thinking that's probably pronounced. I don't know whether she was any good. She's definitely not as famous as her sister, obviously. She definitely wasn't as prolific as her sister. I don't know how many books she actually wrote, but I'm quite excited to read this and see if she is in the realms of her sister. And finally, question 12, and this is where I have to admit to my shame. How many books are on your TBR shelf? I'm gonna have to say it. And I know that this number is not entirely accurate either, because I don't think all the books that I've bought this year, I don't think they're all on there. And obviously my library books, my borrowed books are on a separate shelf. So all of this, I'm prevaricating because I'm so embarrassed. The number of books that I own and haven't read is, at the very least, 538. So please tell me if you have more books than that you own and haven't read, to make me feel less embarrassed. This is why I should not buy books and I should not borrow books, and I'm gonna have to come up with some way of stopping myself. But yeah, I don't know. How do you do it? How do you not buy books? I don't know. So on that note, that is all the questions. I want to tag some people, but I can't think who I want to tag off the top of my head at the moment, so I will put your names in the comments and I'll try and let you know on Twitter who I'm tagging, because my mind has gone blank. I can't think of anyone. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks so much to Justin for tagging me, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Let me know if you read any of these books. Let me know how many books are on your TBR, and if you feel like making this video but you haven't been tagged, you can say that I tagged you. Feel free, you are tagged, and let me know if you've made this video so I can see what you want to read, what's on your TBR. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, chat to me down in the comments, like this video if you liked it, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!